you, dear class 9 children. We have completed book 9, and from today onwards we are going to start book 10. So whatever you learned in book 9 should help you in learning book 10. So book 9 was not a waste for you. That was a background. Under that background, we are going to continue book 10. So from today onwards, we are beginning book 10. So please do concentrate, and book 10 is a matter which you require to prepare yourselves for ICSE board examination. So from now onwards, you are not preparing to pass the examination, your school examination, but you are learning to face this world, every difficulties of your life. So lesson number 1, we are going to begin a new lesson in economics, book 10. This is called demand. So in this lesson, dear children, we learn about the law of demand and determinants of demand. First of all, what is a demand? What is a demand? What I have written on the board is this. The first is the definition of demand. It's given on page number 2, and it's better that you learn as it is given in the book. I will read it for you once. Demand for any commodity refers to the quantities of that commodity which consumers are willing and able to purchase at different prices during a given period of time. Now, if you carefully study this definition speaks about certain parameter. This definition says that a demand is a demand only when it has a certain quantity mentioned. The quantity of the commodity to be purchased is mentioned, the price is mentioned, and the time period is mentioned. So in a demand, all these 3 factors must be mentioned, and if it is not mentioned, then that is not a demand. I want to buy a bag of rice. Not a demand. Why? When would you like to buy it? That's not mentioned. Today I am going to buy 1 bag of rice. Is also not a demand. Time is there, today you are going to buy. And what you are going to buy, 1 bag, quantity is also there, price is not there. Say you had 1,000 in your pocket and you went to buy 1 bag of rice, but you came to know that the price of rice is 1,400 and you could not buy it. Then where is the demand? Demand must have all the 3 factors mentioned: quantity to be purchased, the price, and the time period. And if any of the demand misses this, then that is not a demand in true sense. So that is the meaning of demand. So demand for any commodity refers to the quantity of that commodity which consumers are willing and able to buy. I must have the willingness also, I must have the ability also. I want to buy 1 bungalow. Everybody wants to buy a bungalow. Can you buy? Do you have money? If not, then that is not a demand. What is that called? What is that called? That would be simply a desire. I have written here demand versus desire. So let's come to this. What is a desire and what is a demand? When you want to buy something and you cannot do that, you cannot do, most probably we may not have enough wealth. I want to buy a bungalow, I want to buy that entire hill. Possible? No. I want to be the prince of a country. Not possible. And may not be impossible, but it's not, maybe I can say it's not possible. I may have the willingness, but I don't have the ability. If that is so, then that is simply desire. Okay, you may be the Miss, you would like to become the Miss World. If you have the quality and if you feel that you are going and targeting and you are going, then that's a different thing. But if you feel that you don't have such quality and talent, then that is a simply desire. Okay, so desire means your wish, your want, which is not possible to achieve. But demand means you want to buy and you have the ability to buy. Then that is the demand. You know, after the class I'll go to the market and I'll buy 2 kg of mango. Possible, no? I have time also, I know the price also, and I have the ability also to buy. Then that is a demand. But if I say, you know, after the class I am going to the town to buy the entire market, or to buy Rinak Bazaar, to purchase Rinak Bazaar, then that may not be possible, because I may not have enough money to buy that. So that will be only a desire, not a demand. Alright, so that is the next concept. Next is a demand is a flow concept. What does it mean? Flow concept means demand must have a time period mentioned. Like I drink a glass of milk. If I say this much, will it be enough? I drink a glass of milk. Is this a correct sentence? Does it give you enough sense? No. But if I say I drink a glass of milk every day, then it will give you a concrete sense. Why? Because it has a time period mentioned. So demand is a flow concept. I drink a glass of milk does not create demand. But I drink a glass of milk every day will create demand. I drink a glass of milk in 1 year. When? So then how much to buy? Should I buy a glass of milk for you every day or once in a year? You have not mentioned the time period. So it will not be a demand. But if you say I have a habit of drinking a glass of milk every day, then you are creating a demand, because a glass of milk I can buy money wise, and time period you are mentioning every day, quantity you are mentioning a glass of milk. So that's a demand also. And since your demand is not complete without the time, it is said that demand is a flow concept. That means demand is a flow concept means without the mention of time, demand is incomplete. Demand is incomplete. It's a flow concept. If you don't mention the time period, then your demand is not a demand. So demand is a flow concept. So dear children, we discussed about the definition, the difference between desire and demand is a flow concept, and also we discussed that demand is not a demand, or demand is incomplete or wrongly placed demand unless it has these 3 important factors mentioned. There is the quantity, time and price. If you don't mention this, then your demand is wrong, it is not a demand. So that was point number 1.1 in your book. Now in your book, in 1.2, there is another topic called types of demand. I will give you the definition, not the definition, I will explain, I will give you a little concept, and then some examples also I will give you, that will be enough for you to understand. So when you are asked these kind of questions in the examination, in your own words you define them and give some examples. Examples are very important. If you don't give, then at least I can assure you are going to lose half a mark at least. The first type of demand is individual demand and market demand. I drink a glass of milk every day. That is my demand. When the demand is created by an individual, one person, or a household or family, your family member, within the family member, then that is individual demand, provided the price and the time period is also mentioned and the quantity is also mentioned. Provided these 3 things are mentioned, then that is an individual demand. But do you think you are the only one consuming milk in your society, in your neighborhood? In fact, every household do consume it, and every day they consume at the same price they consume. So for an example, today if you purchase 1 liter of milk, then that 1 liter of milk is for your family, and that is individual demand. But such 1 liter of milk is supplied to every household. If not, then half liter is supplied to every household in the neighborhood, in the society. If you end up in a market, how much quantity of a commodity is purchased by everybody in a given time period, and the price is called a market demand. So in a market demand is the demand of all the individuals of a particular commodity at a given price and time period. Then there is a market demand. But individual demand is the demand of one person or to the most one household in a given time period and a particular price. That is the individual demand and market demand. 1 liter of milk every day, maybe 100 liters of milk supplied in a market or demanded in a market every day. Time period please mention, because demand is a flow concept. Without time period your demand is not a demand. Next is joint demand. Joint demand refers to the demand of those commodities which are jointly demanded. Do you demand shoes and socks together? Do you demand car and petrol together? Or what do you do? Car ल्याउँदै गरौँ, पेट्रोल पछि पैसा भयो भने किनौँ. कारमा पुरा पैसा लाग्दैछ, पेट्रोल किन्दै गरौँ, पछि कार किनौँ पैसा त पारेर. Do you do that? Those commodities which are jointly demanded, they are called joint demand. Okay? Understood? Joint demand. Next is the derived demand. Derived demand means the demand that arises because of the demand of another commodity. Like you are feeling like taking tea. So when a tea is cooked, then will you take only tea? Or you like to have along with that some pakoras or some biscuits? No? What actually did you want to take? Pakoras or did you want to take tea? You wanted to take tea. But you wanted the tea to be complemented by some other products like biscuits, pakoras. Those are called derived demand. I don't have a home. I will not buy a wall clock. Will I buy? You go to the people staying under the tunnel, staying under the bridges. Do they have the wall clock? Do they have the sofa? Why? Even if they have money, maybe 10,000, 20,000, 30,000, it may require. Even if they get that money, they will not buy sofa. Why? Because where is the home? But when you have completed constructing a home, then it will give rise to many other demands. Like a sofa, a wall clock, fan. When you don't have home, would you demand a ceiling fan? Where will you have? There in the sky, in the cloud. That is called a derived demand. Derived demand means giving rise to a demand when you have demanded a product. When you demand a product, if that gives rise to the demand of another product, is called a derived demand. Like the demand for coffee when you get tea. The demand for biscuits when you get tea. That is the demand for biscuit will be a derived demand. Composite demand. Composite demand refers to the demand of those products which have got multi-purpose use. Like milk is a composite demand. You can drink, you can prepare tea, you can make ice cream, you can make cheese, you can make butter, you can make chocolates. So many products you can make. It's a multi-purpose use. Products are called composite demand. Can you give me one more example? Yes, steel. Steel is another product which has multi-purpose use. Just you see around, all those products which you see, normally these days they are the steel products. These are called multi-purpose use. The product with the multi-purpose use are the composite demand. So can you write here? We can say the steel is one product, milk is another product, and then in the derived demand, the demand for example biscuits. Biscuits, then what else did I say? Pakoras, leave it. Then joint demand, car and petrol. This is the best example. Petrol is incomplete without the car, and car is also incomplete without the petrol. Then you have the individual demand, 1 liter of milk every day. 1 liter milk every day. This is market demand, 100 liters of milk every day in the market. So this is the different type of demand we have. So dear children, we have completed 1.1 and 1.2 and we have formally started your ICSE syllabus. So please do listen very carefully, be attentive, listen for several times, and if you have doubts and difficulties, please do not hesitate to make phone calls. Alright, thank you, and we shall meet again maybe next week.